Hello, everyone, and welcome to Intentional by Shay, the podcast where we slow down, tune in, and explore how to live and create with purpose. I'm your host, Shay, and each week we're diving into mindful marketing, digital creativity, and all the little intentional moments that help you build a life and business that actually feels good. So grab your favorite drink, hop into your favorite cozy spot, or just take a deep breath where you are, and let's get intentional. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Intentional by Shay. I'm your host, Shay, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for pressing that play button today. Because if you're here, it means you're looking for something deeper in the world of digital marketing. You're not just here for the quick hacks or the overnight growth schemes or the one-size-fits-all strategies. No. You're actually here because you want your marketing to mean something. You want it to connect, and you want it to feel aligned. And that, my friend, is exactly why I created this space. As we see today, the online marketing world, it's noisy, busy, and it's overwhelming and overstimulating. And sometimes it can feel like every single time you refresh your feed, there's a new trend you're supposed to jump on, a new algorithm update you're supposed to master the same day, or a new content format you're supposed to learn overnight. And if you're anything like me, you've probably felt that heaviness of trying to keep up and wondering if it is even worth it. But here's the thing. Marketing doesn't have to feel like that. It doesn't have to feel like this endless hustle that doesn't stop. It doesn't have to steal your joy or your creativity. What we're going to talk about today and what this podcast is all about is the idea of marketing with mind. In other words, approaching digital marketing with mindfulness, intentionality, and alignment. Because when you bring your full awareness, your true purpose, and your authentic energy into the way you show up online, everything changes. Your content feels different, your audience feels it, and instead of constantly chasing, you begin to attract. Now, before we dive into all the concepts, I want to first start with a little bit of my own story, because I think it'll help you see why this matters so much to me. So let us rewind a little bit. So before I was in digital marketing, I was a personal trainer. I loved helping people transform their bodies, feel stronger, and discover what they were capable of and heal their injuries. But here's the thing. As a trainer, I was also a small business owner, which meant I had to market myself. I had to get clients, I had to create content, and put myself out there on social media and in person. And let me tell you, I was hustling, okay? I was staying up late, editing workout videos, writing long captions, trying to design graphics, and filming Instagram stories, all while training clients and keeping up with everything else in my life. And because I was so focused on doing more, I didn't stop to ask myself, is this even working? And does this even align with what I value? There were nights where I would sit on my couch, scrolling through Instagram, and compare myself to every single trainer that came across my feed. And I'd think, wow, she has more followers than me, and this guy has better content. And their videos, they're getting more likes than what I'm getting. So what am I doing wrong? And maybe you've been there too. Not necessarily in fitness, but in your own niche. That constant comparison game that makes you feel like you'll never measure up. And I remember one day, I had this moment. I had just finished editing a video, and it was one of those follow-along workout clips. You know the ones. And I posted it without thinking. I didn't check if it aligned with what my audience needed. I didn't ask myself if it connected back to my bigger message. I just posted it because I thought, I have to keep up. I have to keep going. I need to stay consistent, and I need to be in the algorithm. So I can't stop. I have to keep posting. But when I hit post, I felt empty. There was no joy in it. And when the video didn't do well, it crushed me. And it made me feel like all the hours that I put into recording the video, creating the video, and editing the video was wasted. And that night, I sat with my journal and I wrote one question. What if I stopped chasing and started creating from intention? And that was the beginning of what I now call mindful marketing. Because when I started slowing down, getting clearer on my message, and creating content that actually mattered to me and my audience, things changed. My engagement grew, not because I was doing more, but because I was doing the right things. And clients started reaching out. Once again, not because I was doing more, not because I went viral, but because my content resonated with them. And more importantly, I felt lighter. I felt like I had space to breathe again. Now, I'm not saying that it was easy or that I had it all figured out overnight, because I didn't. But I can say with confidence that the moment I started approaching marketing with mindfulness and intentionality, that was the moment that everything shifted for me. And that's what I want to share with you in this episode and in every episode that is to come. So now that you've heard a bit of my story, let's get into the heart of today's conversation. What is intentional content? At its core, intentional content is content with a purpose. It's not just posting for the sake of posting. It's not just following a trend because it's popular. It's about creating from alignment, where every piece of content you put out serves your audience, connects back to your bigger vision, and feels good for you to share. Now, let's be real. There were two types of content most people create. The first is mindless content. This is the stuff we throw out there when we're desperate to stay consistent or when we're panicking because we haven't posted in a while. It's reactive, it's rushed, and if we're truly being honest, it usually doesn't perform very well because it's missing the heart behind it. And then there's intentional content. This is the content you craft with clarity. It's rooted in your values, it's aligned with your brand message, and is designed to actually help, educate, inspire, or connect with your target audience. Let me give you an analogy. Mindless posting is like throwing spaghetti at the wall to see if it sticks. It's messy, it's random, and it leaves you exhausted. But intentional posting, that's like cooking a meal with a recipe you love. You know your ingredients, you know the steps, and when you sit down to eat, it's nourishing. It feels so good. Here's another analogy, because you know I love my fitness roots. Let's think of your marketing like a workout program. If you walk into the gym and do random exercises with no plan, sure, you might break a sweat, but you won't see any real progress or results. But if you follow a structured program that's aligned with your goals, you'll see results and progress over time. That's the difference between mindless and intentional content. Now, let's talk about why mindful marketing matters so much. Well, here's the truth. The digital space is overflowing. We're consuming more and more content than ever before. And as creators, that can make us feel like we're constantly behind and like we have to pump out more and more and more just to stay relevant. But the problem with that is, when you're always producing without pausing, you end up burning out. I've seen it happen so many times with clients, other creators, and yes, even with myself. Burnout doesn't just take away your energy, it strips away your creativity, makes you dread the thing you once loved. And when you hit that wall, your audience can feel it too. And that is where mindful marketing comes in. It's about slowing down enough to bring awareness into the process. It's about asking, what's my intention behind this post? How does this align with my bigger vision? And am I creating from joy or from pressure? Let's do something together real quick. If you're able to, close your eyes. I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a moment. And exhale through your mouth. Feeling more relaxed? Good. Now I want you to imagine yourself creating your next piece of content. See yourself writing the caption or recording the video or even designing the graphic. Now before you hit that post button, pause. I want you to ask yourself, does this align with my bigger vision? Does this feel authentic? And does this serve my audience? Then I want you to take another breath. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Now that little pause we did, that's mindfulness. And when you bring it into your marketing, it changes everything. Now that we've laid the foundation of what intentional content is and why mindful marketing matters, let's get practical. I want to walk you through what I call the 4 pillars of intentional content. Think of these pillars like the legs of a table. If one is missing, the whole thing wobbles. But when all 4 are strong, your content stands tall and steady. These pillars are clarity, connection, consistency, and creativity. Let's go over the details one by one. Let's begin with pillar number 1, clarity. Know your message. Clarity is the very first pillar because without it, you're just shouting into the void. Clarity means knowing exactly what you stand for, who you're talking to, and why your content matters. It's the foundation of everything. When I first started posting fitness content, I didn't have clarity. And you'll be able to see that from the first post I posted about fitness, okay? But one day I was posting recipes. Then the next day I was posting workout tips. And then the next day I was posting random posts that I thought was motivational and inspirational. I was literally all over the place. And you know what? My audience was confused, and I was just as confused as they were because I thought I was doing the right thing. They really didn't know what to expect from me, and as a result, they didn't stick around. When I got clear and said, okay, this is exactly what I do and what I want to do and how I want to help others. I said, I help women build strength and confidence through functional fitness training. And then that's when things shifted. My content aligned, my messaging was consistent, and my audience started to grow. And it was not because I was doing more, but it was because I was finally speaking clearly. So here's an exercise I want you to do. I want you to take out your journal and I want you to write down the answers to these 3 questions. 1, what's my core message? Number 2, who am I here to serve? And number 3, what problem do I help them solve? These 3 questions here, these are your clarity blueprint. When you bring that clarity into your content, your audience will feel it immediately. Now let's get into pillar number 2, connection. Know your audience. The second pillar is connection. This is where mindful marketing really shines because connection isn't just about knowing your demographics. It's about truly understanding the people you're speaking to. Ask yourself, what are their struggles? What are their hopes? What's keeping them up at night? And how you can have your content meet them where they are. I'll give you an analogy. Think about the best friendships you've ever had. Those connections worked because you listened and you cared and you showed up. You showed up with empathy. And that's what connection looks like in marketing. I want you to imagine your ideal client or your audience member is sitting right in front of you. I want you to write a letter to them. Tell them that you understand what they're going through. Tell them what you want to help them achieve and how you're going to help them achieve it. This letter becomes a lens that you can use every time you create content. Pillar number 3, consistency. Show up in a sustainable way. This one gets a lot of hype in the marketing world, and you've probably heard many people say it hundreds and hundreds of times. Consistency is key, and they're right, but with a mindful twist. Now, consistency doesn't mean posting every single day. It doesn't mean burning yourself out to keep up with the algorithm either. But what it does mean is that you're finding a rhythm that works for you and you're showing up with reliability, meaning you're going to show up when you say you're going to show up. You're going to be there when you say you're going to be there, which allows you to build trust with your audience. So here's the mindful approach to consistency. You're going to choose a schedule you can sustain. If that's 3 times a week, great. If it's once a week, that's okay. What matters most is that you show up when you say that you will, and your audience can trust you. Now think of consistency like fitness. Once again, if you try to work out 7 days a week when you're new to the gym, you'll probably quit within a month. But if you commit to 3 days a week and you stick with it, you'll see results and progress over time. That's exactly how consistency works with marketing. So what I want you to do is I want you to choose your consistency number. How many times can you realistically post or publish each week without burning out? I want you to go ahead and write that down. That's going to be your baseline, and that is where you start. Last but not least, let's get into pillar number 4, creativity. Infuse your unique voice. This is the pillar that makes your content shine. Now, in the digital space, there are thousands of people doing exactly what you do. However, nobody can do it the way that you do. Your stories, your voice, your perspective, That's your secret sauce. The trap a lot of creators fall into is copying. They see what's working for someone else and they try to replicate it and make it their own. But here's the truth. Your creativity will always connect deeper than imitation. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to make a list of 5 personal stories or experiences you've had that relate to your niche. These could be struggles, wins, or even lessons learned. Now brainstorm one piece of content that you could create from each story. That's 5 posts right there, rooted in your creativity and not someone else's. So, to recap, clarity gives your content focus. Connection makes it resonate. Consistency builds trust, and creativity makes it stand out. When you weave these 4 pillars together, you don't just create content, you create intentional content. Content that's rooted in purpose, aligned with your values, and designed to truly serve your audience. And that is what mindful marketing is all about. So before we wrap up, let's recap everything we've covered in this episode. Mindful marketing begins with intention. It's about creating content that serves your audience, aligns with your values, and reflects your authentic voice. The 4 pillars of intentional content, clarity, connection, consistency, and creativity, gives your content structure and strength. And you've learned practical exercises to get clear on your message, connect with your audience, post consistently, and infuse your content with creativity. Now, of course, I got to leave you with a weekly challenge to take with you. I want you to take one piece of content this week and apply everything we talked about. Use your story, check it against your 4 pillars, and post it mindfully. Then notice what happens, not just in metrics, but how you feel. For now, you are creating intentionally. I just want to say thank you so much for spending this time with me. If you got value from this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with a friend who's trying to grow their digital presence with mindfulness. That's how we build this community together. On the next episode, we'll be diving into storytelling with soul, crafting a narrative that connects. You're going to learn how to craft stories that resonate, inspire, and convert, all while staying true to your authentic self. Until next time, my friends, remember, marketing doesn't have to feel like a race. Show up with intention, share your story, and let the right people find you.